to take her time.
Nice job by Wright, ruining the rhythm. Otherwise, they were probably one more pass away from having a wide open three at the top of your screen. As Taylor Barnes still very little coverage around her. And they've got to walk. After all that, the Tigers never get a shot off.
At least they had some pretty good ball movement. They just need to, penetrate off those skips and get a quick shot.
KK Wright, the Orlando native, now sophomore for UCF, takes her.
Great defense by Creighton there on that post feed. She got on the interior and deflected it. I think this tempo actually plays to Memphis's favor right here. It's pretty slow tempo right now. This is what they need to do. Take their time. Keep the game down.
Here's Elmore off the screen. Trying to feed in the post Creighton, and it works.
Well, one thing that they can't afford to do, UCF, is get in foul trouble, so she was going to let that one go. But I think that's a good strategy to go inside and make Kaba play defense.
Cheyenne Creighton, now a senior for the Tigers. But she was a late signing before her freshman year. They'd only seen her a couple weeks prior to the signing date. But boy, has that paid off for this program.
Kaba's had 3-point blank cribs, easy cribs that she's out quickening herself. There's really, the defense is staying down on her feet. Just needs to take her time.
Midway through the opening quarter in Memphis, the Tigers at home with a 1-point advantage, looking to string some wins together after the victory against Tulane here at home the other night. Knights and Tigers, quarter number 1, still underway when we return on ADN.
7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 21 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American.
From the American.
Don't miss the chance to see your team cut down the nets March 3rd to the 6th. Call the Mohegan Sun Arena or visit us online to purchase tickets today.
Melissa McFerrin, veteran head coach of the Memphis Tigers, former general manager of the WNBA Washington Mystics, now in her 10th year at the helm of the Tigers. Always a festive atmosphere in Memphis, Tennessee. Tigers up on UCF by a score of 7-6. Including tonight's game, we are hitting the home stretch this weekend. We venture over to Houston, where the Knights will continue this frenetic pace as they are being asked to play their last 4 games over a span of just 9 days to stay in the hunt for a top 4 seed. And that game against Houston will be a big one, as the number 3 seed can avoid seeing UConn potentially until the championship game. Wichita State will be wrapping up its first American season against Tulsa, as we were just there yesterday. We'll be back there on Monday to help close out the regular season before both teams go on to the conference tournament.
Houston right now is playing USF at USF, so maybe we can get some scores going on that broadcast, because that's going to tell a big tale on where the Houston Cougars are. It's a tough place to win. USF is not giving too many up at home, so.
It'll be a rare occasion where the Knights are cheering on the Bulls.
Absolutely not, yes.
Or for an earthquake.
So that'll tell UCF a lot. If they go into, they'll either go, if they can get a win here tonight, they go in there with 1 up, that'll be a heck of a game.
4:53 to go here in this opening quarter. Memphis leads 7-6. 4 points from Creighton, 3 from Stinson, who connected on her only triple so far. 4 points from Asani Kaba, who's on the bench right now. KK Wright with a pair. And as you see, Paul in the ball game for UCF. Jamisha Paul. And almost gives it away, goes back to get it. They're going to let her slide about a foot. and then called a tie-up.
Great defense by Tulsa, and I love the way that Memphis' offense is moving. Tulsa's offense was moving.
Lincoln Rose, Angela Beck, Jeff Brightwell down courtside with us today. Glad to have you with us here on the American Digital Network. Nice job working inside. A little up and under off the glass and just couldn't find the angle, Cheyenne Creighton. Quickly the other way, KK Wright trying to make something happen, gets her own miss.
She's got strong fingers there to grab that ball.
Again, KK, the sophomore. One of 3 nights averaging double figures, but they've had some struggles now. Good open look from the wing and off the mark, Jada Stinson after making her first one. And how about the bunny? They find Nyala Schuler wide open.
Well, they had 22 assists the last time they played Memphis, and so they're going to have to get back and guard the paint.
Jasmine James called for the walk. And you see now in the ball game, Elena Davis, 6'2" freshman. They'll try to match some size with UCF.
Kayla Wright and Z, they play about 36 minutes a game, so you're going to see them not come out of this game unless they get in foul trouble, which they usually don't.
Saunders with a long 2 just inside the arc, and players are getting tangled up, so we'll stop play for just a moment.
I don't know if she wanted that to the bank, she called it or not, but that she did have the soft shooter's roll.
Does anybody call anymore?
No, you just shut your eyes. You shut your eyes and pray.
Is there a bank emoji?
Definitely not from the top of the key, don't.
Kayla Thigpen will send this one in. UCF has held Memphis scoreless for the past couple of minutes to reestablish a lead, and another turnover by the Knights.
I like Tulsa's strategy is to keep the ball out of the corner, and so they're playing that passing lane really strong. That was a big-time step-back move by Jasmine James.
Inside of 3 to go. And Tigers back within 1. And another turnover by the Knights. Well, you look at, again, Memphis's remaining schedule after tonight, Tulsa, then on the road at Temple. This is their biggest obstacle remaining if they want to continue climbing up the standings before the conference tournament.
And Memphis isn't an easy, I'm going to go in there and get myself a W. They're going to have to work extremely hard here. This is a team that, they're not going to pull it back. They're going to bring it all.
A trap and a foul will be called on Paul. UCF in a battle here in this opening quarter on the road. Of course, they're coming off that overtime game against USF in Orlando. Now a little road swing, Memphis and Houston. They won't get back late until shortly before their game against ECU to close out the season on Monday. Tigers have numbers. Whip it inside to the freshman. Elena Davis off the bench with a pair.
Well, that was kind of lucky, but good too. And that was a great look inside from about 30 feet.
Memphis back on top. Baseline, Tad Strong, and is it off Kaba? It is. It's back over to Memphis with a minute 47 and counting.
Coach Abe doesn't look too happy here.
Katie Abrahamson Henderson, all she did was take over the job last year and take UCF to the second round of the WNIT. They finished as the 4 seed in the American, and she knew, well, that means you're going to play UConn in the semifinals like they did last year. It's so important for them to finish as the 3 seed or higher if they can this year. And a nice stroke from straight away, and the Tigers able to now extend their lead to a 4-point advantage. It's Bria Elmore forcing UCF to call a timeout.
Well, she's like, you better guard me. I'm up here up top. I'm gonna fire it away. That was a great take by her. Yeah, definitely Memphis has a little momentum going in here. They're feeling pretty good about, shooting 50% here and hitting their shots early. That's a good sign.
So Melissa McFerrin's Tigers, we mentioned she's wrapping up her first decade in Memphis, the former point guard for the Missouri Tigers. 14th year overall as a head coach, led the American University women's program for 4 years, a former Patriot League Coach of the Year. Also mentioned, spent time in the WNBA as a general manager. But she's had her staff together now for several years. But you know what we've talked about with Memphis is how they've been shorthanded a lot of this year with only 7 players available to them. It's noticeable when they come running out. But they're fortunate Taylor Williams is still around campus sometimes and comes out to practice, the senior from a year ago, just to give them some numbers.
Well, they hit their rock bottom last time they played UCF, and I think they remember that. And they've got nothing to lose here, so they are playing with that reckless abandon, and it's good to see that they're really sharp right now.
Cheyenne Creighton took that last rebound away from the freshman, her own teammate, Elena Davis.
Getting ball reversal and attacking the baseline of this defense is what's key.
Final minute of the opening quarter. Tigers with a chance to build on their lead. And Saunders gets in there just long enough to tie her up.
Watching the Knights play defense is really a pleasure. Their hands are up. They don't foul very often, and if they do, it's for a purpose. It's a well-disciplined defense.
Final 40 seconds here in the opening quarter. And that is another long two. It won't fall. The rebound for the Tigers thanks to Taylor Barnes. Leading the break the other way, Creighton finishes with the left hand. Cheyenne Creighton running the court.
Excellent touch pass to Creighton, and she's looking good early.
Good rotation creates the open opportunity. And bodies are tangled up. They'll have a foul underneath on Nyla Schuler. And UCF now is in a 3-minute drought. A moment ago, Tigers able to stretch their lead to 6.
Well, they've abandoned the interior game. That's what they're shooting the outside shot from the deep corner is not really what they've done in the past. So they need to get back to the things that they know how to do well.
Shot clock is turned off for the rest of this quarter. Stinson looking for another. Her second 3 of the opening frame, and Memphis has almost doubled up UCF here at home. And that is how the Tigers will slam the door on the opening quarter. UCF early on, off to a quick start, but they hit a 3-minute drought to close out the opening frame, during which the Tigers make it a 19-10 lead here on the American Digital Network.
Oh, that ball is hit deep. Left field. Way back. That ball is gone.
Double play ball potentially striking falls over to first. In time, double play, and that ends the game.
Just about ready to get started here with the second quarter play between Bria Elmore's Memphis Tigers and UCF. Lincoln Rose, Angela Beck back with you here on ADN. Let's check back in with Jeff Brightwell courtside. Jeff?
Bria Elmore, a senior from Stone Mountain, Georgia, third-team all-conference a season ago. She had that three-pointer at the top of the key, puts her at 999 career points. The next one puts over 1,000. But even more special tonight, the Tigers, as always, wearing the pink jerseys in the month of February to recognize the fight against cancer for women. Bria, of course, an experienced senior, lost her mother to cancer in the middle of last season. So the month of February, these pink uniforms special, just like getting 1,000 points.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jeff. They lost Diane Elmore in December of 2016, as Jeff noted. Bria has been such an inspiration for her teammates, and it's been so important, of course, the cause that just about every Division I program has adopted, and so many others in the NCAA, in terms of wearing pink in the official breast cancer awareness period of February.
What a perfect first quarter, though, for Tulsa, if you could ever dial it up. 19 points. To dial up 19 points against UCF, one of the best defenses. That's really saying something. They did almost everything right.
Remember, this is a UCF team with a very thin margin of error if they are going to not only have a chance at the number 3 seed, let alone stay in the top 4. Cincinnati is right there on their heels, sitting at number 5 in the standings.
Well, it's super easy to coach a Tulsa, a Memphis team that is a Memphis team that has nothing to lose, you know.
Down low to Paul, and Paul will cut into that 9-point deficit. Memphis shooting 75%. Oh, pardon me, that's from beyond the arc. They're only shooting 62% from the floor. It's been impressive either way.
75% from three-point range, so yeah. They're killing it.
Just about everything was going the way of Cheyenne Creighton and the Tigers.
And they got 10 points in the paint by Davis off the bench and Creighton, so that's a big help for Memphis.
Tigers made their final 5 shots to close out that opening quarter on a 12-0 run. And that one goes off of Saunders' leg. Another turnover by UCF here in this opening half.
Well, I'm not going to say that UCF isn't ready. I just think that Memphis is playing that good.
Paul with the interception. And he'll come away with 2 points.
That was a good step back by Elmore not to get in a foul.
UCF just playing a 7-player rotation right now. Memphis, because of their own limits, just working with 6 players at the moment. Only Davis has come off the bench, but she's been solid with 4 points. She's down low right now along the baseline. Active hands from Saunders. And shot clock starting to melt down. Not a concern for Bria Elmore.
Well, when they're open, they're stroking it, and it's nothing but net.
Points number 1,000, 1,001, and 1,002 for Bria. Right with the kick out, and the Knights will pull 2 points back thanks to Schuler.
Yeah, that's been about the only shot that Memphis has been allowing is that corner shot, and that's not their favorite shot.
They led by 9 coming into the second quarter. Tigers lead right now at 6. Stinson with a couple of three-pointers. Elmore had one a moment ago. You see they only have 1 miss from beyond the arc so far. A little off-balance shot put. And now Davis is going to head to the free throw line.
Well, sometimes Memphis will go with a 2-post or a 3-post offense, and now they have a double-post offense with Davis and Creighton, and that's pretty effective because right now they only got Cobb inside.
Davis making about 2/3 of her free throws this year. You know, last time we talked to Melissa McFerrin about Elena Davis earlier this month, she just mentioned how for the freshmen, like so many other freshmen, the game just has to slow down, and it right about now really is clicking for Elena as she is up to speed and has such great hands in general. And let's see if there's a lane violation, so she'll get another go at that free throw.
Yeah, she's just starting to get more physically fit because of the injury she had early. She did have 10 points and 6 boards when they played UCF the first time around. So I think she remembers that and has a little confidence here.
Well, she'll miss the back end. Either way is Paul with the rebound. UCF on the road, trailing by 7 early in the second quarter.
Kind of surprised to see Memphis come into a man-to-man since the 3-2 that they were running was so effective.
You see the turnovers, and Saunders all on her own. Finds the open space and a little turnaround on the baseline, and now let's see if Memphis stepped on the baseline. And it's right back over to UCF. So after trailing by as many as 9, Knights now within 5. Let me update that. Knights now within 3.
That's an interesting matchup with Saunders and Elmore. You can't leave her open. You got to run her off the line.
It's a 10-4 start here in the second quarter for UCF. And it's about to be a 12-4 start. Jamisha Paul with the left-handed layup.
Well, Paul's so long and athletic. She just read that weak side pass and knifed it and went the full court.
Over the last 27 seconds, a 6-0 run, and they do it again. Deja vu. Getting back, though, trying to take the charge, and how about that? Able to stay outside the arc and take that charge, Taylor Barnes.
Well, Paul's so excited. She's got to get her second pick here, and she just needed a jump stop and hold off, and that was a great defensive charge by Memphis.
Otherwise, that's UCF reclaiming the advantage.
Good minutes by Paul. They go in a 1-4 high set, which I like, which gives them passing angles. A lot of teams aren't getting those passing angles.
Elmore will step through, and they'll call her for a travel.
Yeah, I think that's a Euro step. I liked it.
Lost in translation.
We're not in Europe.
And 6 to go here in this opening half. Again, Memphis hanging on to that 1-point advantage. A little 8-point turnaround for UCF. And the Tigers fans thought Thigpen may have walked there. And Thigpen able to pull up. Rebound by Kaba. Saunders loves what many people would deem the worst shot in basketball. Just right there on the 3-point line, but that's been her range.
Yeah, she's a catch and shooter. If she can just catch it and pull the trigger, she's happy.
They say the worst shot because if you would just be a couple inches back, it'd be worth another point. Saunders was never much of a 3-point shooter until this year. That simply was not something that Coach Abe asked her to do at Albany. But she has found a little 3-point renaissance since arriving in Orlando.
Yeah, that time they, Jasmine James came over the back. Got bailed out.
No, just down on Manuel.
Again, Melissa McFerrin has only gone 1 deep into the bench. Just about all of her starters have played every minute, with the exception of James and Davis splitting time.
I think the tempo of the game is allowing her to do that, and her team is playing great defense right now.
But the Tigers have seen that 9-point lead evaporate. A 14-4 start here in the second quarter for UCF on the road tonight in Memphis, Tennessee. Z Saunders putting the Knights back up 24-23 here on ADN.
Don't Don't miss the chance to see your team cut down the nets at the American Athletic Conference Men's Basketball Championship. All the excitement of tournament basketball starts March 8th and runs to the 11th at the Amway Center in Orlando. For tickets, call the Amway Center box office or visit theamerican.org for more information.
Power comes in all forms. Power is a big tackle,
a big save,
a clutch hit,
and a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
Power is respecting an opponent, officials, student athletes, coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions
while at the game.
The American.
Power.
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 Power for life.
Welcome back to Memphis. Right now, the Tigers, after leading 19-10 after one, have already surrendered 14 points in the second quarter to UCF. But the Tigers, hot showing from beyond the arc, 4 of 6, a couple of threes from Stinson, another pair from Elmore, as those two have combined for 12 points here to help lead the way for Memphis at home.
Coach McFerrin said Memphis did a great job of passing the ball in the last game against Tulane, and that was a big reason why they won. And their passing looks very sharp, very crisp. They had a couple, bad cross-court passes, but other than that, I give them an A for their effort in the zone.
A for effort for those students as well. And always a popular fixture at the games. Home of the Tigers. So Memphis right now scoreless in the last 2.5 minutes. UCF on an 8-0 run, while Memphis during that stretch has had 4 turnovers. And that's something for them to overcome. It has been a game of runs. Again, Memphis led by as many as 9. Right now trailing by 1.
Well, you remember Coach McFerrin talked about their low point was against UCF earlier this year, and that the team splintered from the game plan, and she felt that she had some defectors, and it was tough for them to come back together. So from the low point to this point, it looks like she's worked really hard to get some cohesiveness.
Memphis, with the injuries, being shorthanded, had to throw some freshmen into the fire, and as a result have seen really some early maturity that has been much needed from those freshmen. A bright spot for Memphis. Right now, leading the way, it's Barnes. Over to Stinson. Stinson, one of those freshmen. Stinson, a little baseline penetration, but turns it over. Up to Z Saunders. How will the final 4 minutes of this opening half play out? Another good look for Saunders, just off the mark that time.
Well, the Knights are causing havoc on this end. They will not allow you to run your offense.
Yeah, UCF is contesting every pass.
They're going to jump a passing lane. They're not going to allow you to make 2 or 3 passes in a row. They'll get in one of the passing lanes.
Extra pass and just not ready for it. Barnes gets a fingertip on it, but nothing more.
I say shoot it before you turn it over.
Some of the players Memphis is without: Bria Wilder-Cochran, point guard, Finesse Dixon as well as Asia Jones and Dominic Miller. Injury bug has not been kind to Memphis. They picked up that victory over Tulane, a 13-point win the other day, and they are back right now in this ball game, though at the moment trailing by 3. They haven't scored in the last 4 minutes. Creighton trying to put it into that drought, can't do it. UCF on a 12-1 run.
Thanks to the guards, thanks to Saunders and KK Wright. They've kind of abandoned going inside since Creighton's been stopping them. But when you have Saunders shooting like that, why go inside?
Yeah, Saunders just playing with so much confidence this week and able to come through with another one right there. She has 10 points here in the opening half on 5 of 8 shooting.
Right at that level that you said, hey, that she shouldn't be shooting it from there, but that's her favorite shot right there.
Again, this is Saunders' first and final year with UCF as we look back into the Memphis huddle. Memphis had lost 8 straight. Their last win was at Tulsa on January 13th before they finally beat Tulane here in Memphis 3 nights ago. They'll see Tulsa and Temple to close out the regular season. And they could add some more wins here down the stretch. They could get close to matching last year's mark in conference play. They went 7-9 last year, as they could potentially go 6-10 this year.
Basically playing a 1-3-1 offense versus this 3-2. Like to see a few more cuts.
Saunders called for the foul. Memphis right now, 3 different players with 6 points. Stinson, Elmore, and Creighton. Davis with the remaining 5. Again, just 6 players so far tonight for the Tigers. UCF going thin as well with just 7. They deny the spin up top. Still plenty of time to shoot. And Saunders, another steal. Turnover number 15 for Memphis. And a walk on the other end will give it right back.
Well, the Knights just make Memphis play so far out that they jump this passing lane and push you further than you want to go in your offense, so it makes it a little bit uncomfortable. I think they're most effective when they can get that ball to that baseline step-out player and try to hit the middle of that zone or penetrate into the seams of the zone.
Even with that UCF turnover, this is a 14-point swing in favor for UCF. Memphis still cannot end a 5.5-minute drought. KK Wright, well, she's been distributing tonight. That time comes away with a couple of points. Already has 5 assists this evening. Those are points number 5 and 6.
Well, she likes that mid-range jumper, and she's taken some quality shots here in this game.
Now a 16-point swing. Memphis trying to put something together before the end of this half. They've been outscored 20-4. Davis can't get the putback to go. Memphis has missed their last 6 from the floor. During the same 6.5 minutes that they've been held scoreless now, they've also had 7 turnovers and seen UCF go on a 16-1 run.
Well, the first time they played, UCF held Memphis to single digits in 2 quarters. And it's looking a little bit like it's moving that direction in this second quarter here.
Memphis has a little less than a minute to get something going before they head to the locker room. A 14-0 run over the last 6 minutes, a 16-1 run over the last 7 minutes. Feed back inside to Davis, and it still won't go, but she will get to go to the free throw line to shoot a pair.
Good high-low look with Creighton and Davis. Creighton got to the middle of that zone and then just punched it down low.
Memphis' last points were at the free throw line from Davis. When she made the first, missed the second. They had the lane violation, got one more, but missed it.
Davis is a good-looking player. Big, solid, 6'2", good frame. She's got good touch around the rim. She's going to be a nice player in the American.
See how UCF utilizes the final 40 seconds here. Reminder, stick around as Jeff will have a chance to catch up with Coach Abe on their way into the locker room. Hope to hear from Coach McFerrin right before the start of the second half. Still 15 to go here in the opening half. 3 seconds. And it won't go. UCF holds Memphis without a field goal for the final 8.5 minutes of the opening half. And Memphis watches a 9-point lead evaporate and ultimately become a 6-point deficit at halftime. Before halftime, let's check in with Jeff courtside with UCF coach Abe.
Coach, got them turned over a bunch in the second quarter, tied in the first. What did you do in the second quarter to make that run?
Believe it or not, we took our press off. So we just did a great job in our half-court defense. They were just breaking our press way too easy. So I said, let's just get back in our half-court defense, and it's been working, so we're lucky.
Road is always tough. You had a really nice game against Memphis on February 3rd, playing you a little bit more tight this time on the road.
Yeah, I mean, they're really good at home. They've always been really good at home. They got 2 great players in Cheyenne and number 5, so we just got to pay attention to them in the second half.
Coach, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
That is Coach A from UCF. They have the halftime lead.
All right, thank you very much, Jeff. Again, it was Memphis up 19-10 after the first quarter. UCF comes roaring back in the second, outscores them 20-5, as the Knights still in the hunt for a top 3 seed in the American. We've reached halftime.
7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 21 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American.
Hope you're enjoying the President's Day holiday, and welcome in to the ADN studio for an all-new episode of The Rise. I'm Haley Outen. It's time to take a look at who takes home the conference's top accolades for their standout performances on the hardwood this past week. On the men's side, what a week it was across the conference. Taking home this week's top honor is Wichita State forward Shaquille Morris. Morris led the Shockers to a 2-0 week, positioning his team within 1 game of first place. Wichita State essentially controlling their own destiny at this point in the season. Thursday, Morris's 23-point, 13-rebound effort carried the Shockers past Temple before he stuffed the box score with 13 points, 3 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 2 steals in a win over number 5 Cincinnati, snapping the nation's longest home court winning streak. Rookie of the Week honors went out to ECU's Sean Williams for the 4th time this year, tying for the most in a season in conference history. In a 1-1 week for ECU, Williams averaged over 27 points, going a combined 13 of 19 from 3-point range. Williams hit all 6 of his 3-point attempts, finishing with 29 points in the Pirates' win at Tulane before knocking down 7 threes against UConn en route to a 26-point effort. A handful of other players had impressive performances as well. Here's a look at this week's American Honor Roll. On the women's side, UConn guard Katie Lou Samuelson takes home this week's top honor. The junior averaged over 26 points in 2 wins for the top-ranked Huskies last week. Against Louisville, Samuelson led all scorers with 26 points. On Saturday against the Owls, she registered 27 while dishing out 5 assists. Meanwhile, Freshman of the Week honors went to Temple's Amani Mayo. This is the first conference accolade for the freshman, who averaged 16 points, 2.5 rebounds, and 2.5 assists for the Owls last week. She put forth 15 points at Wichita State on Saturday, snagging 4 rebounds before leading the Owls at UConn on Sunday with 17 points. And here's a look at the performances that received recognition on this week's Conference Honor Roll. Thanks for joining us today on The Rise. Hope you have a great rest of your week.
Oh, that ball is hit deep. Left field. Way back. That ball is gone.
Double play ball potentially. Schreitenthal's over to first. In time. Double play, and that ends the game.
Don't miss the chance to see your team cut down the nets at the American Athletic Conference Men's Basketball Championship. All the excitement of tournament basketball starts March 8th and runs to the 11th at the Amway Center in Orlando. For tickets, call the Amway Center box office or visit theamerican.org for more information.
Power comes in all forms. Power is a big tackle,
a big save,
a clutch hit,
and a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right. Power is respecting an opponent, officials,
student athletes, coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions
while at the game.
The American.
Power.
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 Power for life.
We are underway from the American.
Don't miss the chance to see your team cut down the nets March 3rd to the 6th. Call the Mohegan Sun Arena or visit us online to purchase tickets today.
People say we're big. Wow. Well, what is big?
This is big.
It's an energy. An opportunity.
This is big, baby!
So go on. Dream big. Because big is just the beginning.
I got it. This is big.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones, not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 21 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American.
Oh, that ball is hit deep. Left field. Way back. That ball is gone.
Double play ball potentially. Schreitenthal's over to first. In time. Double play, and that ends the game.
Power comes in all forms. Power is a big tackle,
a big save,
a clutch hit,
and a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right. Power is respecting an opponent, officials,
Student athletes, coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions
while at the game.
The American.
Power.
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 Power for life.
We are underway from the American.
Don't miss the chance to see your team cut down the nets March 3rd to the 6th. Call the Mohegan Sun Arena or visit us online to purchase tickets today.
People say we're big. Wow. Well, what is big?
This is big.
It's an energy, an opportunity. So go on. Dream big. Because big is just the beginning.
I got it. This is big.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
Halftime in Memphis. Welcome back here on the American Digital Network as UCF with a 6-point lead at the half after trailing by 9 through one quarter of play. Lincoln Rose along with Coach Angela Beck. And, well, both teams can certainly improve on turnovers, but we've seen a balanced attack from both sides.
I think that we were really surprised early on as Memphis came out so strong. They shot the three really well. They got the ball inside to Davis and Creighton, and they really gave them a lot to handle in the first quarter. Got a little sloppy with their turnovers in the second quarter and gave UCF a little run.
Again, a back-and-forth ball game, but UCF took advantage when Memphis hit a dry spell down the stretch. KK Wright, among others, helping lead the way offensively. But one of the things that did go the way of the Tigers, the three-point shooting, we take a look at some of the stats that stand out from that first half.
Well, obviously the field goal shooting for both teams, 43% for Memphis. I think they'll take that all day, 50% for UCF. The three-point shooting for Memphis, I don't think Knights ever thought they could shoot that well in the quarter. So
Knights right now with a 6-point lead. And we take a look at the players we were highlighting coming into today. They are your leading scorers right now. Z Saunders with 10 and 4 to start the ball game, while Bria Elmore with a couple of three-pointers total up to her 6 points. We'll step aside when we come back. A chance to catch up with Melissa McFerrin, head coach of the Tigers. Her thoughts entering the second half here on the American Digital Network.
7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 21 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American.
Again, getting closer to start the second half. UCF with a 6-point lead. As now a chance to check back in with Jeff. He is joined by Melissa McFerrin, head coach of the Tigers. Jeff?
Coach, they kind of got you a little flustered there in the second quarter. You got 15 total turnovers. They got you that 8.5 minute scoring drought.
We did a really great job early in the game of taking them out of their press. Then they settled into their half court. Now they're making us figure that out. So I think most of our turnovers came against our their half court defense. We've got to settle in and we've got to execute better, take care of the basketball.
The good thing is your defense kept you in the game. You're only down single digits. You get out to a quick start, you're right back in this.
Absolutely. We got to go to the offensive glass and we got to get the shots we want against their zone.
Coach, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Jeff.
Head coach Melissa McFerrin, just a single-digit ball game, guys.
Yeah, Jeff, that is a great point. Again, 2-score lead right now for UCF despite the struggles for Memphis down the stretch. As Coach Abe and company emerging from the locker room, just about set to go for the start of the third quarter. UCF finally worked in an 8th player into the rotation when Wilson came on. Memphis still has only played 6 here tonight at home due to injuries.
I think there's been a little bit of a chess match where each one wants to counter punch, but UCF figured out what they were doing offensively in that 1-3-1, so I think they need to give them a different offensive look against that zone and try to maybe get to the backside and get it to the interior of that zone.
So as we noted, coming into today, we have less than a week of regular season basketball remaining here for the women in the American. Each of these two teams will have 2 more games after tonight. Monday, the final day for all 12 members of the American before everybody moves up to the Mohegan Sun Arena up in Connecticut.
The Knights have been pretty strong on the road too. I think that's one thing. They don't really show their they don't get flustered. They handle it, and it really has to do a lot with KK Wright and with Saunders. Those 2 guards keep everybody pretty cool under pressure.
Appreciate both head coaches for checking in with us, talking to Jeff at halftime, as we'll have a chance to hear from the winning head coach and one of your winning players by the end of this evening as well, shortly upon the conclusion of the broadcast. Underway, start of the second half here in Memphis. Inside to Kaba. That's one area they could have gone to a bit more often perhaps, and they're going to start with the freshman here in the third quarter.
Yeah, she did not really show up that much in the second quarter. They hit her really quick, but went away from her.
Kaba and Saunders each with 8 points now to lead the way in scoring. Shot clock down to 5. And the turnaround just won't go off the glass for James. And Z Saunders will be denied an assist. Is that one halfway in then out from Aaliyah Gregory. As you see, Nyla Schuler coming back up the court. You know, we talk about Aaliyah Gregory. This was an individual all-conference a year ago, but her teammates have really elevated their game this year. They have not relied on Aaliyah as much this season.
Yeah, that's definitely true, and I don't think she really cares about individual awards, so it works perfectly with the coach's strategy of team play. So all 5 players contribute, and last time they played, it was 5 people that made it happen.
Kaba called for that foul. Creighton with free throws coming up. Memphis tonight 2 for 4 from the charity stripe. We have not seen UCF shoot a free throw this evening.
Well, Creighton's had a great career. She's an 1,000-point scorer for Memphis. Tremendous athlete. Really, remember we talked about the fact she didn't want to be taken out of a game. She's that kid that wants to be on the floor, and she wants to remember her senior year.
Yeah, she told her coach, Melissa McFerrin, look, if we're so shorthanded, there's no reason for me to ever be sitting during a ball game. And that wasn't an ego thing. That was simply, hey, I know my time is limited playing college basketball. I can rest when it's all over. Saunders, also a senior, off the mark that time. Rebound by Elmore. Going right inside, forcing the issue. Free throws will be the reward for Taylor Barnes.
Well, that was a nice little penetration there. Attacking before they get back, and Taylor, I'd like to see that out of her. She's very capable.
Sophomore point guard Taylor Barnes, your Memphis native.
She had a season-high 8 assists in the last game versus Tulane. I like to see these guys in transition, but of course, they only have, 5, 6, 7 players that they can play, so I'm sure they don't want to up-tempo it too much.
Barnes had 16 points the last time they played UCF over in Orlando. That's just her first point this evening. Has not taken a lot of shots in her 22 minutes, 0 for 2 from the floor, but has a couple of free throws.
I think you can credit Coach Abe for that. She's strategy-wise, she wants to take away people that hurt her, and she doesn't want her to dial her up for 16 again.
KK Wright already 5 assists. Gets Thigpen involved with dime number 6.
Well, it was a different look for Memphis, little half-court trap, and they just took it right to the house.
A 16-point turnaround has UCF right now up by 7. And Kaba with the rebound. Thigpen able to keep it in play. And KK Wright draws the foul off of Jasmine James.
That was a good drive to the baseline. Jasmine wasn't quite set yet, so she attacked her and got her to give up that baseline.
Talk about the Knights playing 4 games in a 9-day stretch. Just the way the schedule played out, they actually had an 8-day layoff before these final 4 games, right before that USF matchup. They had a lot of time to prepare for the Bulls and, of course, pushed them to overtime. Bulls, one of the 2 American programs in the top 25.
Kaba right there on the little turnaround. You can tell she just needs to develop that post game a little bit more. She's obviously getting a lot more minutes than she was thinking she was going to get at the beginning of the year with Omakori out of the lineup. So just needs to get a little bit stronger, a little bit more deliberate there, and she's going to be a force to, well, she already is, but she's going to be a big force in the league.
A free throw here would make Kaba your leading scorer with 9 points now. Yeah, that's the first time we have mentioned Tolu Omakore. Of course, Fifi Indoor also out. The junior and senior bigs for UCF, and they would have taken some pressure off of Kaba. Meanwhile, Saunders was looking for another pick.
Well, you talked about this the other night about the freshmen and how their wheels kind of come off at this time of year. I kind of see like her body's, you know, it's drained a little bit. You know, they do play a zone, so it does help her, but, you know, she's a pretty thin, long, lanky player, and she just needs another off season to get some more build on her.
Great feed inside, just cannot capitalize as Davis unable to finish. A freshman in her own right. Thigpen from 13, no. Creighton with the rebound. Open look, Stinson still looking for her third three-pointer. And all the way taking it to the rim, KK Wright.
Yeah, that's a no-no, 2 no-nos. Memphis needs to get more people in the paint. When they throw it in there, there's 4 black jerseys and 1 pink. The guards need to get in there too, and everybody has to crash the boards for Memphis.
Memphis in the midst of another drought. Past couple of minutes without a score.
Watch, there's 5 black jerseys and 1 pink.
And Davis cannot buy a bucket. Saunders past 3 Tigers. Got her own rebound, but they say she stepped on the baseline.
Well, they're getting to the rim a little bit too easy on the conversion. Memphis needs to get back, just get settled in, get 5 people in the paint and make it more difficult.
Saunders will have to wait just a little longer to reach double figures in scoring. Still with 8 points to go with her 5 rebounds.
She now has a 3-post attack in there. All 3 posts are in the game.
From the baseline, and Saunders another rebound. Full steam ahead. And it winds right back up with the senior Zykia Saunders. Timeout, Memphis. They were hoping that the second quarter was just an aberration, but right now, UCF off to a 9-3 start here in the third quarter. Knights have grown their lead to 12, largest advantage of the night.
miss the chance to see your team cut down the nets March 3rd to the 6th. Call the Mohegan Sun Arena or visit us online to purchase tickets today.
Power comes in all forms. Power is a big tackle,
A big save.
A clutch hit.
And a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right. Power is respecting an opponent, officials,
student athletes, coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments.
Profanities or other improper actions.
While at the game.
The American.
Power.
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 Power for life.
Right now, Melissa McFerrin's Tigers looking up at a 12-point deficit. Still 15 minutes to go in regulation. 5 here in the third. And, well, it's hard to still call them freshmen, but technically they are. And Amani Mayo has been brilliant. One of the twin Mayos up there in Philadelphia. As Amani coming off a week in which she averaged 16 points per ball game, and that included the contest against UConn, when she led the Owls with those 17 points. 5 triples for the freshman of the week in the American. Speaking of that team in Connecticut, Katie Lou Samuelson, the most recent Husky to be your player of the week. And again, you see they stepped outside of conference to take on number 4 Louisville to continue to test themselves for the conference tournament and then the NCAA tournament coming up. Congratulations to Katie Lou Samuelson and company. Of course, the remainder of our honor roll in the American, Z Saunders and Bria Elmore on display tonight. We'll see Angela Harris soon enough in Houston coming up this weekend. Jesperson for USF and Ranji Bassard for Wichita State. We'll see Ranji on display on Monday night when we close out our schedule in Tulsa.
Well, Lincoln UCF has basically taken control of this game. They have 22 points in the paint, 10 off fast break points, and 12 assists. So Memphis needs to really dial it in here. It's crucial time. They've got to get back, stop the transition buckets, and get some points in the paint themselves. They have 3 posts in the game right now. Hopefully they're going to attack.
Coach Abe saw her Knights trailing 19-10 after the first quarter. Since then, in the last 15 minutes of game time, they have outscored Memphis 29-8. And an area where they excelled, talking about the Tigers, was from beyond the arc early in this ball game. Stinson had a couple of 3-pointers early, but called for the walk going in for the closer look.
Yeah, I'd like to see Bria Elmore get off the top of the key. She tends to stand there the entire series, and she needs to move and make people find her.
UCF on a 7-0 run right now over the past 3.5 minutes. Well, soon enough, we'll be crowning a basketball champion in March, but this past weekend in Dallas, SMU, quite the host, as Houston won with women's swimming and diving. Cincinnati, congratulations, took the men's title in the pool. We will head to the Crossplex in Birmingham for Friday and Saturday's championships indoor for the American. And then, well, in April and May, we'll get to go outside with some sunscreen as golf, tennis, softball, outdoor track and field, as well as women's rowing, and we'll close it out bringing Jeff Brightwell out to Florida for some baseball in May. Again, all of those championships will have coverage on the American Digital Network.
Well, it's going to be an interesting end of the third quarter here with 4 minutes and 41 seconds to go. Memphis just needs to get more deliberate, like Coach was talking about at halftime. They've got to get some buckets. They got to get some scores. They look a little lackadaisical, like they don't have the energy. Obviously, they're not going really deep on their bench, but neither's UCF. This is tea time. It's ready to go, and so they need to pick it up another level here.
Yeah, you look, UCF just 8 points off its bench. Memphis with just 6 points off of its bench, as Davis, the only player off the bench for McFerrin tonight. But that's nothing new. She has known what she has had to work with, and these players have responded well, including that victory over Tulane this past weekend. As we update our conference standings for you and remind you what it's all about. When you and I talked to Coach Abe last year, year one at UCF, they go to the WNIT after being ousted by UConn in the semifinals. That's because UCF was the 4 seed. Right now, UCF wants to be that 3 seed where they'll have another chance to tangle with USF in the semifinals and potentially meet UConn in a championship. But at the moment, they still have that game in Houston this weekend to try to determine their own fate. But don't discount Cincinnati. They played a game earlier today. They're just a half game back now, putting the pressure on the Knights.
No, it's going to be a real fun end of the season to watch those three teams go at each other. Because it's anybody's game right now, and no one wants the 4th seed. I mean, you hate to think it like that, but you have to when you have to play UConn.
Memphis could still finish as high as 8th in the standings realistically. And remember, the importance of a top 4 seed is getting that first day off. So that means when you start your tournament experience, your opponent played less than 24 hours ago. Lincoln Rose, Angela Beck, Jeff Brightwell with you here on the American Digital Network. And the Knights coming out of that timeout, having things go their way. KK Wright will go to the line, looking to enter double figures in scoring. She becomes just the second Knight to go to the charity stripe this evening.
Well, that's unfortunate that Elmer went over and just a little bit of a continuation with the body on that. Otherwise, it was a good defensive effort. But the Knights have such a great presence about them. They just pass, you know, really get a rhythm and try to get a quality shot, and that's why they're tough to beat down the stretch.
Cornelia KK Wright makes 1 of 2. She has 9 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds.
I just love watching Saunders play because she's always smiling. I mean, I haven't met that many competitors that are out there having as good a time as she has.
She is the Jeff Brightwell of women's basketball.
Yes, and then some. Watch again what I'm talking about. We only have 1 pink jersey anywhere near that ball. I think these guards need to start moving a little bit and giving some help to that post.
Memphis with the turnover, you see, conceding an 8-0 run right now to UCF. Memphis has not scored in the last 4 minutes. And that continues a theme that we saw in the second quarter. It has helped UCF grow this advantage right now at a baker's dozen and an offensive rebound by KK Wright.
Well, they're going to take it out and milk it, take their time, keep the score down. They get good player. Look at the players coming from behind that zone is what I want a little bit more for Memphis to do. See them running that baseline, working, screening the backside. That's good stuff.
Thigpen goes up to get the rebound and will be fouled by Cheyenne Creighton. Thigpen wanted to use that rim to her advantage, not knowing if somebody was right behind her.
She got all that ball that she could. She is the utility player for UCF. She does it all. She plays in, she plays out, she sits the bench, she does whatever they need. She's, you know, a quality guard from West Palm, Florida. Led her team to a state championship in high school.
And she's, of course, been asked to shift defensively to more of a post player with the absence of 2 of her teammates this year.
It's accepting roles that help teams win, and that's what she's gotten buy-in from all these kids. See, there's no movement, no player movement. There's one player, but we got to move a little bit. Go behind, cut.
A 16-footer won't fall. And UCF trying to build on a 10-0 run. Tigers come up with a stop. Slamming on the brakes, and it still just will not go the way of Jada Stinson and the Memphis Tigers. Cannot catch a break.
On that shot, there were 4 Knights in the paint, and only 1 Tiger made it past half court. So they're tired. They've had a long season with very few players, and it's just unfortunate that they don't have more help.
It's the second drought of more than 5 minutes tonight for Memphis.
When they played the first time, they scored 6 points in the third quarter. So, like I said, they did a couple single-digit scoring opportunities, and this is another one so far.
You see right there what Memphis is up against. A long three straight away, trying to get back on track, but off the mark from Elmore. Crowd behind the Tigers defense trying to get a stop, and instead Creighton will be called for the foul on the perimeter.
Well, the Knights are going to be content to lull you to sleep here because they can. And they know what's up, what they've got next at Houston. So they're not going to be, they're going to stretch you out and take their time on this end.
First free throw attempted tonight by Aaliyah Gregory is good. She became the 6th Knight in program history to eclipse 1,000 points in a career. Able to make them both.
There they go with Elmore running, through the lane. I like them moving her. But now we'll see if she moves again.
Stinson and Elmore both have hit a couple of three-pointers. I don't know if that's how you draw it up, but all of a sudden the drought is over. Davis with 2 more off the bench with 8.
Well, you just got to do something different. And they did. They put a screen on the top and let her dribble through it.
Now it's UCF on a drought from the floor in terms of field goals. Last 3.5 minutes have not been able to find a bucket. Part of that's because they've made their way to the free throw line.
Well, we've seen teams come back on the Knights. You and I have been part of that, where they've had the sizable lead like this and they've come back. So they can't be too cautious here.
Yeah, turnovers. Certainly a storyline here this evening, particularly early on in this ball game. See if Memphis, after some stops, can find some points. Yes, ma'am.
That's what I'm talking about right there. She comes from the backside of the zone. They don't see her. She gets set, and she scores. Good movement by Memphis.
All of Bria Elmore's points tonight, all 9 points, have come in multiples of 3. And Kaba makes it just look so easy.
Well, that's the side she likes to turn to, her right side, so that's usually money.
Knights had gone 4 minutes without a field goal. Again, part of that was because they were getting fouled and going to the line. See if Memphis can close out this third quarter on their own terms. Hit the rim. Right with the rebound. Half-court shot. Good if it goes. Just off the mark. And the Knights will have to be content with a 14-point lead on the road in Memphis tonight, moving on to the fourth quarter. Kaba with 11, Saunders with 10, KK Wright with 9 of her own, your leaders for UCF so far tonight.
Oh, that ball is hit deep. Left field. Way back. That ball is gone.
Double play ball potentially. Schreitenthal's over to first. In time. Double play, and that ends the game.
Well, Tigers saw the deficit grow there in the third quarter, outscored 16-8. Found some positives, though, near the end of that third quarter, including Bria Elmore with another triple. Well, speaking of trios, Lincoln Rose, Angela Beck with you, the man who completes our broadcast team tonight, Jeff Brightwell. Jeff?
Guys, a similar story in a different arena. On February 3rd, UCF outscored Memphis 21-6 in the third quarter. That's where they got the separation of that 21-point win. Tonight, another big scoring drought for Memphis. They outscored the Tigers 16-8, and Coach Abe's Knights trying to put this game away here in the fourth. And another big thing, Houston already lost today, so UCF has a chance to vault into third place with a win here tonight.
Yeah, that is not to be overlooked, Jeff. Thank you very much. Turnovers will be what we focus on here as a story in this ball game. We'll get back to that note on Houston in a moment. But it's the turnovers that lead to transition opportunities.
Well, yes, they've had 18 turnovers, and it's tough when the other team only has 12. But 24 points in the paint for UCF, 18 points off offensive rebounds, and that really tells the tale.
Jeff mentioned that Houston lost earlier today. That opens the door for Coach Abe and the Knights to take an advantage going into Houston to play the Cougars with so much on the line.
Well, it's definitely on their mind. It's, I would think, a lot of what they're playing for because it's big. It's huge.
They go into Davis, and Davis will go back to the free throw line.
It could mean seeding as far as the NCAA tournament. They could possibly slip in there.
Yeah.
Or it could be seeding for who they play in the WNIT.
UConn and USF have to feel pretty good. That's an understatement for one of those teams. After that, if you're looking for a third team out of the American, it could come down to these final couple of games.
Well, hopefully, and we'd like to see 3 teams go to the NCAA. I definitely feel that, Cincinnati has put a run together. But, they look at RPI and what you do in the preseason, so that's going to play a lot in how they select it.
UCF this year had 12 teams on its schedule that played in the NCAA tournament or the WNIT last year. And Memphis, again, trying to mount a comeback. Quick feet, quick hands, and a nice finish by Taylor Barnes. Timeout as UCF's lead now down to 11. We'll step aside, 9.5 to go here in the fourth quarter. Memphis looking to pick up a comeback victory on its home floor.
$7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 21 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American.
Underway from the American.
Don't miss the chance to see your team cut down the nets March 3rd to the 6th. Call the Mohegan Sun Arena or visit us online to purchase tickets today.
UCF hanging on to an 11-point advantage. Still looking for their first points here in the fourth quarter. As these Memphis Tigers, again, victorious over Tulane here in Memphis. This is the second of 3 straight home games before they'll close things out on Monday at Temple in Philadelphia. Meanwhile, for us, after tonight, just 2 games remaining in terms of women's basketball here on the American Digital Network. We'll follow these Knights to Houston. That will be a big clash. A lot on the line, specifically the number 3 seed in the conference tournament. UCF could already angle for that 3 seed if they can hang on tonight after Houston fell. And then Wichita State, your newest member of the American, will venture over to Tulsa. We'll see it on Monday as back over at the Reynolds Center. We'll see how the Shockers can close out their first American campaign before everybody moves on to Connecticut for the conference tournament.
Well, Memphis has been in a little bit of a drought here. Coming out scoring 19 in the first quarter, only 5 points in the second quarter. 8 points in the third quarter. They come out with 3 points right away right here, so hopefully they can turn this around. But they've kind of lulled UCF a little bit to sleep here, and they better wake up.
Coach Abe's Knight still shooting 48% in this ball game. Memphis has cooled off a tad to 35%. UCF has attempted all of one three-pointer. That's just not really their game. They are 0 for 1.
They take quality shots, and they're getting 48% on their two-pointers, so they it really hasn't hurt them this year, but it could hurt them maybe in the tournament.
Will they be able to keep up if Houston is able to connect from beyond the arc?
Well, no one's really made them come out of that 3-2. Even Connecticut, they stayed in it. So I think she's pretty stubborn about playing what she wants to play, and she's going to make you adjust your game.
Memphis looking for a transition bucket. Stinson can't get it to go.
That would have been huge if she hit that.
Back within single digits with that make.
Lots of time on the clock, though.
You talk about UCF's defense. Gino Ariema had high praise after UCF held UConn to 55 points, the fewest points they had scored this year and in the past 4 years in the American.
Yeah, she does little tweaks to try to match up with what you're doing, but they are very determined on staying with whatever their plan is.
A lot of the media after that game was asking Gino what was going wrong for UConn, and he said it wasn't about us, it was about what UCF was doing. They were imposing their will on defense, and that time UCF able to get a couple more points from Saunders. She's got 12.
Yeah, he was pretty upset, that sometimes they don't give the other team credit, and he really felt that UCF played well enough to have the credit. So some people don't think Gino's, that gracious, but he can be. And
Bria Elmore will connect once again from beyond the arc. All of her scoring has come from downtown. She's got a dozen.
Yeah, I'd like to see her dribble drive and penetrate a little bit. I think she did one time and pitched it, but she hasn't gotten the dribble drive in her game much.
KK Wright tonight, 11 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists. Looks on as Saunders has the ball. Saunders from about 18. Offensive rebound, and Kaba rushes it a tad.
Rushes it and just, is a little weak on that finish.
And Kaba will be called for the foul against the Canadian, Cheyenne Creighton.
Yeah, every day's a new teaching experience for Kaba. So that time she just pushed her from behind and wanted to get her off the block, and she did, but she fouled her.
You saw Bria Elmore's most recent 3 points. She is 4 of 6 from beyond the arc tonight. Inside to Davis. Saunders able to get there in time to prevent the layup. They simply say out of bounds. Back over to Memphis.
Well, that was a good pitch play right there, and then they just converge on it. Little bit of the hand, but...
Yeah, Saunders may have gotten away with some contact. Still Tigers basketball.
I like it here if Bria just picks that penetration up. Tough shot.
Paul with the rebound, up ahead to Wright. And KK Wright tried to thread a needle to Kaba. Davis able to keep it playable. Elmore with it, and now a scrum. It's a tie-up. As everybody fighting for possession.
Sacrificing their body right there. You got 4 players on the ground. 3.
Ball will stay on this end. Shot clock they have at 30. And a walk.
Yep, she scooted her feet. A little 2-step. Probably not what Coach Abe wants to see here. Just a little bit sloppy for her team. Trying to close this out.
Tigers led by 9 in the first quarter. Have trailed by double figures here late in the second half. Shot clock down to 5. And they'll never get a shot off. KK Wright getting instructions from her second-year head coach.
Yeah, Memphis needs a little more sense of urgency here. They're kind of milking the clock, their own clock down, and they've got to go a lot faster.
How about Z Saunders running the offense? She finds Naisha Paul.
I like Paul. She comes off the bench and gives them a spark every single time.
Pardon me, Jamisha Paul, again, the junior, out of Pompano Beach, Florida.
It's taking them too long to score here.
Elmore looking for her 5th 3. Kaba kept that plant foot. And this is going to stay on this end. There was one night, 3 Tigers. And it's the Tigers who are whistled for the foul.
Yeah, Taylor Barnes. Yeah, it's funny because I feel like the Knights are supposed to pull it out, not run, but they're wanting to run because they seek opportunities. It's hard to change the way you play.
Right now for Memphis, Bria Elmore with 12 points, the only player in double figures for the home team. The freshman Davis off the bench with 9 tonight. Still trailing by 12 after that miss. Paul, late dish, free throws coming up for Schuler.
Well, that was good penetration. A little scoop pass in there. She's got fresh legs, Paul does, so I'd be running her all I can.
One more for the Orlando native. Schuler, about a 50% free throw shooter this year. Picked up her degree in August, now a master's student. Got her own rebound. And she'll get the 2 points some way.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Memphis. You got to block that out. That's the little things that make you successful. I don't care how tired you are.
And the lead is back to 14 for UCF on defense. Good job feeding the freshman. Davis just can't finish. Tigers looking for another stop. UCF able to grow the lead on its last trip down.
Content to milk this down under 10 seconds.
Shot clock at 5. Hit the rim, fair game. Paul with the putback.
There's no Memphis player following that ball. They're all watching it. It's kind of when you have like heavy cement legs where you feel like you can't move. It's happened.
You don't want to get fitted for those shoes.
No.
Elmore. No look pass that would have benefited from looking. Cutting straight to the rim, no rebound. Back to the Knights.
Yeah, the Knights are just a step quicker. They're just getting to the ball a little faster.
A little 6-0 run for UCF right now as Memphis has missed its last 7 shots. Feed in, somebody has to pick up Masani Kaba.
There's just no one home.
Kaba now the 4th night in double figures scoring here today. And she has 11.
Yeah, this is just where the lack of bench for Memphis is hurt them.
And Elmore still trying to get them back in the ball game with the 3-pointer. Second chance opportunity. Creighton finally with the rebound. And Stinson just lost her feet. KK Wright always wants to get others involved. That time made the right decision.
She did a little show and then a little go for herself.
KK Wright, 13 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds. It probably won't have quite enough time left in this ball game for a triple-double. But the lead is 20 for UCF, your largest advantage on the day.
Yeah, UCF just took it to them here the last couple, since the first quarter. They've owned every quarter since then. They've run the floor well. Their defense has been strong. They've taken care of the basket. They've done a lot of the little things. They've hit the open jumpers. They've shot the ball better. They shot 47% to Memphis's 30. And, just had a little better team play. Memphis just lost it, didn't have enough gas.
Bria Elmore still the only Tiger in double figures with 12. But she has been cold as of late from beyond the arc. Trying to narrow this gap. Instead, UCF stretches it to a 20-point lead right now. And this is the third time today Memphis has had a drought in excess of 5 minutes.
They just make it so hard, UCF does, for you to score. They make you feel uncomfortable. I mean, 38 points for, Memphis is probably their second lowest total ever, because 41 points that they held them to last time was their third lowest. So it's quite a defensive display for UCF.
UCF, remember, was trailing 19-10 in the first quarter. So they gave up 19 in the first. The rest of this ball game, they have only conceded 19 points. And that's still a valid note. 3-on-2. Right to Thigpen, having some fun.
Well, it kind of showcases where UCF's program is right now. Their backcourt is super strong. They're deeper, and they've earned their spot.
So this means all of a sudden they will flip-flop with Houston in the conference standings going into Saturday's clash in Houston. Final second on the shot clock.
Yeah, they need to go to their quick hit offense, and they're still going to the offense that's taken a little longer to formulate.
And now going to the bench, UCF, Delphine Robitaille, the Montreal native, a freshman. Just her second game of the year. Also see L'Oreal Wilson playing her first minutes of the night. Shot clock down to 3. Robitaille, the secret weapon. That's your first three-pointer of the night for the Knights.
That was a set play. No, that was just good for her play. It's fun when you can sit the bench and just rock and fire. She's got good form on that shot, so I think she is highly capable of shooting that 3.
That's only the second 3 UCF attempted tonight. All of a sudden, they're shooting 50% from downtown. And Memphis finally back on the board after missing their last 10 shots.
Yep, UCF has held Memphis single digits now 3 quarters. It's quite a defensive display.
5 points in the second, 8 points in each, the third and fourth. We'll call it a pass. Shot clock melting down to 5. Still hasn't hit the rim. They're going to have a violation. No, they're not even going to have a chance. The ball going back over to Memphis.
That's a tough night for Coach McFerrin, but, she's done a great job of coaching these kids and keeping their morale up. And, You know, it's just one of those tough years that you have where injuries predicate what you can do.
Robitaille went from being a 0 for 2 3-point shooter in her young career to a 33% shooter, and then misses the last two as the number starts to even out again. But that will do it here in Memphis. We step aside. A 23-point win for UCF. When we come back, Coach Abe will be with Jeff Brightwell along with one of her Knights.
People say we're big. Wow. Well, what is big?
This is big.
It's an energy. An opportunity. So go on. Dream big. Because big is just the beginning.
I got it. This is big.
Well, the Knights overcame a slow start, defensively able to impose their will down the stretch in true Coach Abe style. Let's check back in with Jeff Brightwell. He's with Coach Abe.
Here we go. Coach, outstanding game again. It's all defense. You held Memphis scoreless for about 8.5 minutes in that second quarter, and much like you did in Orlando, really laid the hammer down defensively in the third quarter.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're known for right now, and obviously we wanted to hold their go-to players down, and that's what I was just looking at to see how many points 5 had and 10 had, and we did a great job on Cheyenne. I mean, she's a great player. She's a senior. We did a really good job on her, and considering we're very small in the post.
What can you say about Zakiya and her game tonight?
Yeah, I mean, she's just being a warrior for us right now, and she's playing like a true senior, and seniors either quit at this moment or play really hard, and she's playing really, really hard for us right now. Obviously, they really respect her because they went in a box and won on her a couple times, so that's huge. That says a lot.
Finally, Coach, a win for you tonight in a Houston loss. That puts you in the third place, but you turn around in a couple days, you're going to go down to Houston and face the Cougars.
Fantastic. Can I just enjoy this one? Yeah, we obviously every game we play is the next biggest game, and so obviously we got to enjoy this one because it's very hard to win here. I don't think our team's ever won here, and Melissa does a great job with her team, so we're just going to enjoy this one right now and worry about the next game next time.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you.
That's Coach A. We're going to bring in Zakiya Saunders here, our player of the game. And Zakiya Saunders, an outstanding game. She had 20 points, 8 rebounds in their prior meeting. Zakiya tonight, 12 points, 6 rebounds. Probably more impressive than 5 assists. Talk about this game.
I'm just really proud of our team. We played hard. The team that we were, Memphis is a good team, so we just tried to lock down defensively.
Talk about that defense. An 8.5 minutes scoreless rout for the Tigers. You guys held them scoreless in the second quarter. Similar to the third quarter down in Orlando when you played these guys. You held them to 8 points tonight in the third.
We talked about it. We wanted to keep them in single-digit quarters, and that's what we were out here trying to do, just hustle and play hard on defense.
You guys are rolling now. You've got a top 3 in the league right now with a Houston loss, but trying to keep that top 4, the conference tournament, right around the corner.
Yeah, we're just going to keep fighting and do what we have to do to try and stay up at the top.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is Zakiya Saunders, the UCF Knights winners on the road.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Yeah, Z, they update her with 14 points to go, those 6 boards, 5 assists. KK Wright, the double-double, 11 points, 10 assists, 6 rebounds as well, her partner in crime. Well, the Knights keep rolling. We'll be with them in Houston. Our next broadcast on Saturday afternoon on the American Digital Network. Big thanks to our entire ADN crew tonight in Memphis. For Angela Beck and Jeff Brightwell, I'm Lincoln Rose. Knights, 23 points, victorious over the Tigers tonight on the road. They are halfway through this gauntlet, looking to finish as a top 3 seed before it's all said and done.